look past the way that one another looks and like your appearance and stuff, like the way you dress and the way you look has to mean that you are a certain thing on the inside. And I feel like a lot of times the problem with that is that people don't really want to get to know each other, like have a conversation with each other to like get to figure out what you're thinking inside of your head and who you know that you are. And I feel like it's really beautiful when people can just live in unity and like know what you're feeling on the inside doesn't have to relate to anything you want to look like on the outside. You can just be what you want to be.
I think when you think about binaries, like everybody's been talking about how they tend to put you into two different groups, or they already label you from the moment you're born. But I think what can be positive from that is when you see what everybody expects you to be, you get to choose who you really are and what you want to do with your life. And you realize, okay, they're trying so hard to fit me in this, I'm going to do what's right for me.
I'm a computer science major, so like I spend a lot of time coding, and the most basic language of computers is in binary numbers, the 1010, and that's because like at the most basic level in computing you need just on and off, and you can't like know the difference, or like you can't have anything in between rather. But what I find really interesting is that in computers and in programming we're looking for new ways, and like one of the cutting edge fields of computer science is a way to have a maybe switch in the middle, and a way to represent data through the middle. And like if we're struggling with that in computer science, it just makes a lot of sense that we'd be struggling with it in gender binaries as well.
It's so much easier to just subscribe to a group and just be like, I like what they're saying, whatever they say, I'll just go with that, and I just won't even kind of think about my version of it. So I think just sometimes it's empowering to break out of a binary, but it's also scary because all of a sudden you kind of have to make your own list, and you can pull from both sides, and if one felt wrong to begin with, then you feel weird about that. So in a way, it forces you to like step out of your comfort zone and figure out what you're actually thinking, because we kind of live in a society where that's not the automatic thing you're supposed to do.
Just in terms of expedience sake, I can't always be constantly critically analyzing all of my behavior. Sometimes it is beneficial in a situation to just be mixed, or just be a dude, or just be one of these categories which I claim, so I don't have to be analyzing every single behavior that I have. That can be beneficial in a space, especially of emotional intensity around something else, so I can be in a solid space instead of constantly trying to pry myself apart.
I'm Buddha, I'm from Philly. My pronouns are whatever you want, keep it funky, just don't be malicious, please. I also made this sketchbook the other day. Also, I wanted to read the list that we made because I thought that was like a thing. Can I do that? Okay, so I have been identified with woman, John, shawty, baby dyke, lesbian. I identify with just queer and spirit. And I thought it was really interesting that like I found a lot more things that people identify me with than I identify with myself. And also I think this whole push against like gender fluidity and against like just being, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like fear. Fear that you cannot understand me, and you cannot like put me in a box, and you cannot put yourself in the box either at some internal part of your character. So you're like, how can I better understand this? How can I make this simpler for me? How can I simplify you? So it's like one or two.
Hi, I'm Simone. I'm from the Twin Cities, and I don't fucking care what you call me. For me, I don't know, the gray area is really rough because in here I feel really good about not labeling myself and not having anything going on. And in this space, that feels fantastic. But out there, I feel necessity to fit into a binary. And as someone who identifies in here as no label, but out there I'm pansexual and I'm a Buddhist and I'm female, but in here it's like, I don't know how to articulate this properly. Part of me really wants to be in a binary. Part of me really wants to identify as cisgender female and as straight, and or or lesbian or whatever, and I really want that because I want to feel like I'm a part of something. And as someone who doesn't label myself, and knowing that there's no one out there identical to what I am, that's horrifying. It's really gratifying and beautiful, but it's also really scary.
I just wanted to say the whole binary thing within yourself, queer and religious, and because I grew up in a very Christian household, and I always thought of myself, like Becca said, as the straight girl who liked girls. And so I never identified myself as anything because I felt as if I wasn't allowed to. And so that was always an issue, and it's still an issue, so that's why I came here. I'm learning so much from y'all online. So yeah.
I think a lot about gender expression, and particularly being femme, and like femme in all communities is seen as super, super weak. It's seen as super artificial. You know, why are you putting on lipstick? Why do you, put on blue eyeshadow? Why are you wearing that dress? Why do you want, and people don't get is that femme is strong. Like, femme can be hard. Femme can be powerful. We can bench just as much and punch just as hard. We're fucking flowers on fire. Our lips have been stained with our own blood, and people don't get that we're fucking powerful beings.
Between all the different experiences in the rooms, people have so many tools on how they reconcile with binaries, how they interact with these things in their own lives. And I really strongly encourage you guys to share those tools with each other, because so much about this is basically learning what path works for us. And some of the best ways to do that is talking to people who are at different points in their own narratives and trying to figure out new ways of dealing with ideas. At the University of Connecticut, we have a chant that I would love to do with y'all. When I say, hey, I think somebody's watching, everyone yells back, no shame. Right? As a display of a affirming self, and also of not shaming others for doing the same. So, hey, I think somebody's watching! No shame! Thank you guys.